I was like on the streets and, you know, sort of going through a process of losing your kids and all that sort of stuff, but the only thing that really mattered was making sure I had gear. So, you know, it's just nice that that's not like the only thing I think about now. Do you know what I mean? It started to really sort of say what was going on in my head. I just took that position where I just didn't want to know anymore. I just didn't want it, but I knew that I couldn't just sort of do a raw cluck. Not on the streets anyway. It's not a pretty sight, basically. So yeah, I heard about this place. Took me about 3 or 4 months to get in here. Got on a methadone script and haven't looked back, basically. You know, just kept going, stay clean. But you know, I think I just hit that just hit that sort of place. You know, if you don't, see, before you get clean, you can't just say it's something you want to do or it's an idea. You know, you've got to sort of get to that place where it's just carrying on doing gear just isn't an option anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, just totally enough. And like, unless you hit that place, I don't think you can get off gear at all. You know. The staff are good, really. You know, it's got good staff, good people who work here. But I think the main thing that's worked for me is the fact that I'm still around gear sort of all the time. So, you know, sort of, you get on a script and then sort of every time you say no and that, you begin to feel stronger and sort of more empowered, like you can take control of your own life and that. And I think that's the main thing that's worked about it, really. You know, sort of, it's just really encouraging when you bump into dealers that you know and they're offering you gear on a payday and you say, no, I don't want it. You know, it's, yeah, I think that's one of the things that work well about it, really. It's because, like, you're not locked away from it. So, you know, it's like I was saying earlier, if you can stay clean on this programme, I think you stand a better chance of staying clean later on in life than if you're on a programme like where you're locked away from it, you know. So. When I got to 90 milligram of meth, and I just didn't use that whole day. I couldn't sleep or nothing. It took me weeks before I got a reasonable night's sleep. But yeah, that first day just felt really, really good. It was the longest day of my life, without a doubt. It was a minute felt like an hour. Do you know what I mean? But sort of in a good way, you know. And by the end of the first week, I was just enjoying stuff. Like I could just sit down and veg out in front of the TV for the first time in a long time, and you know, I wasn't. My mind was still there, thinking about running around in school and in stuff, but I wasn't doing it, you know. And it just felt really good, you know. I remember a couple of weeks into it, I got a day where I was like really, really, really bored, and to me that was just like fantastic. That was the best feeling in the world, just feeling like completely bored, nothing to do, do you know what I mean? It was like, you know, I was bored, but it just felt really good, you know, because I wasn't worried about scoring, I wasn't worried about getting ripped off, I wasn't worried about anything. It's just, when you're on methadone, it takes all that away from you. There's just nothing at all there physical. It's all psychological. So, because I wasn't physically bad, that sort of helped me psychologically. Do you see what I mean? And so it's just cool, just knowing that I could say no. And you know, first of all, I started like going out and spending all my money on biscuits and stuff like that. You know, just anything, just so I haven't got money to spend on it. Yeah, it's a feeling blocker. It's just you know, you don't like feel pain and stuff like that really when you're smacked up. It just sort of takes all that away. you know, you're still aware of your problems and that, only it just doesn't hurt. Like, so that's it. The hardest thing about being without it is you just have to confront painful situations head on, like, and just deal with them. That is like the hardest thing about being without it. But you know, as time goes on, you just get used to it. Really, there was a hell of a lot more bad to it, is what I'm trying to say. There was more bad to it, you know, especially towards the end. Especially towards the end when I stopped using, because like I was in a bad way then. I mean, you know, so sometimes it could take me like an hour just to find a vein, you know. And, like, you know, my arms and legs and that would be pissing out with blood because I'd be like constantly digging away and not being able to get a vein that I could use. And you know, I used to get in a right state. You know, I'd be in tears sometimes, literally crying, like, because, like, you know, I was just like so desperate to get hold of a vein. And that's, I think, really, you remember the bad stuff as well as the good stuff, and there's a lot more bad stuff than there was good to using. And you know, I never want to go back to that. Never want to go back to being like that again. You know. Well, I have got kind of certain coping strategies when I feel like that, especially if I get money in my pocket, because that's definitely the wrong time to feel like using and that, when you've got money in your pocket. But you know, I just remember stuff, like basically I just think of stuff like things that I would do to get me money together, and the way I was living because I was using, and you know, like the amount of people that's died and things like that, and you know, just there's stuff that it's important to remember when you feel like using, you know, and that's what I do, really. Yeah, I still think of myself in recovery. I think realistically I'm going to be in recovery for a long time yet, you know, for years maybe, because my way of thinking is, you know, the day I turn around and say, that's it, I'm not in recovery anymore because I'm not an addict anymore, you know, I think that way of thinking is silly. That's when you become a bit, you know, like when you're so overconfident with something that you screw up because you're overconfident, you know. So yeah, I think really I'm still going to be in recovery for a while. I suppose just what it says on the tin, really, isn't it? You know, it's recovery. It's like recovering your life, getting some kind of normality back in life, really. Because, you know, as normal as it does seem at the time, I mean, living your whole life just to run around getting a bag of smack isn't really normal, is it? You know. So, yeah. Being in recovery just means just that, really. Just getting back a bit of normality in life. You know, there's certain stuff I'll never be able to have back, but, you know, I've got plans now, and, you know, there's things I want to do in life, you know, just normal things, really, like get a job, try and get some kind of living standard that I'm happy with, you know, just trying to have a reasonable, normal life.